All right. I'm just going to check. Hey, everybody. Happens to... Yep, we're live.
Okay, great.
Perfect. All right, so let's just give everybody a few minutes to come in.
Okay.
And I am going to tag some people while we're hanging out, or you can too.
Oh, okay.
It's not letting me in, not sure what else to try.
So I was literally getting my workout in. It was like 5:48, and I was like, I got to go. Nothing like trying to fit everything all into one. Here we go. Oh, look at okay.
Oh, here we got here. All right. If you didn't, so listen, guys, just a little bit. So as you noticed, you can see the comments on the side. So guys, if you haven't noticed, if you don't accept the StreamYard, we can't see your name. So do us a favor as you join, hashtag I am here. And if you hashtag I am here with a green heart before it, the first 3 that do that are going to get a little freebie from us that we will talk about in a minute. Also, hashtag I am here and give us your name as well. If you guys watch this on the replay, what we'd love you to do is hashtag replay. We got Allison here. We've got a Facebook user. Guys, I will see your name when we're on Facebook, but I can't see exactly who you are if you don't type your name in. The StreamYard doesn't let us see it. But if you watch this on the replay, guys, hashtag replay. And just so we know that you are here and you watched it on replay. All right, so let's get started. So I want to take a minute, guys, to introduce to you Channa. So if you haven't met Channa yet in the group, this is Channa.
What's up, everyone?
She joined almost 3 weeks ago, yes.
I'm going into I'm in my 4th week of like active doing the program.
Okay.
Actively in the program, yeah.
Awesome. Hey, Christy. Hi. Glad to see you here. So Channa has been with us for, I'm getting sidetracked, sorry. So Channa has been with us for almost 4 weeks, as she said, and some interesting fun facts that we really wanted to come in and talk to you about. Channa, as you saw in an introduction, she has a lot of amazing talents. She sings, but also she is a bit of an energy coach, and she does tarot readings as well. So we have had some interesting conversations as she has been maneuvering through the program and really kind of bumping up against some of these challenges that we're talking about today, which is the biggest one we're talking about is that little voice. And I really felt that she would bring some really good value to you guys, being the fact that she's inside the program, she's facing the same challenges, but she's just got a little bit different way of approaching it. So some of her solutions and what she has been doing to really keep herself on track, we thought would be great to share with you. So the 5 things that we really want to touch on to really tell that little voice just to be quiet. The 5 things is really changing the language and how you talk to yourself. Also identifying what that why is. I think sometimes we forget, especially if we've been on the journey for a while, why did we really start? The third one is really to practice visualization. And some of you have heard me talk about this before. We're going to get Channa's take on it a little bit as well. For creating positive affirmations, and then 5, the non-negotiables that go along with them. If that sounds good to you guys, drop some green hearts in the comment box to let us know you are here.
Check it out. We got so many.
I know. We've got a lot of them. All right, guys. So we're going to get right cruising into this and try to stay on time. So as I said, the first one is really changing the language on how you talk to yourself. So I think, and I feel that a lot of times we say things, and I don't even think or feel this way. I hear it from a lot of you guys. I have to. And when we use the language like, I have to go to the gym, I have to follow a meal plan, I have to get up, I have to, whatever it might be, that is a negative voice that starts to sound in our head. And we feel it as a negative. So one of the things that is helpful to myself, and I'm going to let Channa kind of expand on it, is to change the language. So when you catch yourself saying, I have to, I'm going to use the gym for an example. I have to go to the gym. I'm going to use a good one for me. I have to go do 45 minutes of cardio. Believe me, when I say I have to, which I have to do after this, go do 45 minutes of cardio on the stairs, I immediately go shut right down. But if I change the language to, hey man, I get to go do this, it sounds silly, but I get to go do this because XYZ, my goals, it changes the feel and the energy around it. It's no longer feeling like a punishment. Channa, I'll let you add in on that.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. For me, whenever I'm in that space, I'm definitely like in a lower vibrational energy. I'm like in the more pessimistic, like, oh my God, I don't want to have to do this kind of thing. And so what I do for myself is I just kind of slowly walk back up into like better feeling thoughts. And I find that, by doing it slowly and like one step at a time, it helps me, one, get momentum, right? So that I can like get up and get out of there into like a more positive space. But it happens really pretty quickly. It's like, oh my God, I don't want to have to eat this again. Like, I don't have to eat this again. But it's like, you know what? I'm going to choose right now to eat this again because I'm making a good choice for myself, right? And then like another one above that, like I believe that this is a good choice for myself. Like I'm going to do this because I get to choose what I eat every day. Like I get to choose to nourish myself with food that actually is going to be of benefit to me versus like, oh, this is, I'm going to eat this and I'm going to feel like amazing for the taste for like 5 minutes and then I'm going to feel like shit afterwards. Like, so I'll continue walking up that like scale of emotions up into those really high, like those higher vibe feelings. And I mean, that really helps me out too. So I totally agree with that 100%.
I love that. I absolutely love that. Guys, if you're getting value from this, let us know in the comments. Drop us some fire. And if you guys have questions, we're both watching the question box. Just feel to drop them in there. But let us know what you're thinking. So again, guys, and also here's the thing. I will ask you guys, does that make sense? What we're talking about, like changing that language, Brittany. Courtney, I know, like, yes, I know. Christy, yes, you've been a big one to change that language as well. I know in the beginning it was kind of tough for you. Allison's dropping fire.
Well, and you'll feel it too. Like you don't just hear the difference in your head. You feel the difference in your heart. You feel the difference in your gut, in your solar plexus. You go, oh, you start to feel like lighter. You start to feel like more energized. So you'll feel it as well.
Yep. No, I totally agree. When you're in that negative energy or, you're talking to yourself in that way, it can be anything. It doesn't even have to relate to nutrition or education. It can be relationships, work, all of those things. And it just like, it's heavy. I really feel you. Like, and when I have those days, I'm a lot like you too. I've got to, and I don't know if you've ever done this. Sometimes I have to just change, not even the language. So you're talking about like small steps. Sometimes I will change the energy around me. I may turn on music. How many of you have seen me on my stories going to the gym? Raise your hand in the chat group if you've seen that. Yeah. So one of the things that I do, if you guys have ever noticed that, if you watch me on Instagram, and I've been just posting a little bit more about it, is I like turn on certain kinds of music that gets me going. So, you know, I'm into that gangster rap, if you haven't noticed, but that's what I do. That's what gets me going. Absolutely. So Nikki sees me, you know, to get going to the gym. But then this is interesting, Shauna, and I love your piece on it. I do something completely different when I do cardio. So, like when I go to do cardio, I turn on a podcast. So for me to have gangster rap blaring in my ear when I'm trying to do cardio, like that is just heavy. Like I can't do it. So I switched into like more of a motivational or educational that keeps me actually really going. And the next thing I know, I'm like, dang, I've been on here for 45 minutes. That's sweet. I'm gone. Peace.
Well, and I like that too, that it's more, because I do the same thing. I'll listen to like a book or a podcast or like a video, like of someone that I follow that's more of like motivational style, rather than like scrolling on Facebook or scrolling on Instagram, because I find like for me, like first of all, not focusing on my cardio, I don't get a good enough workout. You know what I mean? So if I'm watching something that's actually motivating me, like I'm like, okay, let's do this. Like dun 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 dun. But like if I'm doing something opposite, like scrolling on Facebook or scrolling on Instagram or TikTok, I mean, subconsciously, I'm already comparing myself to every person that I'm looking at, and I'm like already, you know, that shift starts to happen in the back of my mind, like, oh my God, now I'm comparing myself. I'm not good enough. I don't look like that. Da, 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 da. So I like that too, like really putting something motivational on that's like pumping me up, not just the music.
And I love what you just touched on, because that's a huge one, you know, and I've never thought about that. Like, absolutely. Sometimes, you know, comparison is the thief of joy in all aspects of our life. And it's so easy to do these days with social media. So yeah, that's another really good reason to like, and so many of us scroll through social media and we're looking and you know, it's true. There's the social media version and then there's the real life version, and 90% of the people are not showing the real life version.
That's actually one of my like non-negotiables, like you call it, Jules, is I will not scroll on Instagram. I will go on and post. I will go on and check if I have like notifications, and just like the few friends or people that I know that I get value out of, I'll like check their things, but I won't scroll anymore. I've actually had to take full sabbaticals away from social media because I was falling into that and not even like realizing it. And that's really what it's designed to do, you know?
Yes. Marina just message us. Yes, comparison is the thief of joy. That is, you know, and write that down, guys. I love that she put that in there. Write that down. Like if you're someplace where you can write it down, jot that down. If you're not, type it in the comments. You know, comparison is the thief of joy. You've got to keep your focus on you, which kind of leads into the next one where we talk about visualization. And what is Amber saying? Yes. You get to season. Oh, I love it. Amber says, I get to season my own food the way I want. I get to. That's great. That's a really good one too. But as we lead into the next one, well, good job, Amber. The visualization, you know, first of all, revisit that why. So if you're newer to the group, you know why you're here. But if you've been here for a while, and that's why a lot of times if you're working with me inside the app and the transformation, you're doing regular check-ins, you know that you fill out a form. And two of the questions is I ask you to stretch goals. I want, what are your big goals? You know, the ones that you really have to reach for. And then I ask for weekly goals. And it's really designed, guys, not to be a pain in the ass, but to bring you back and to center you with why you're doing this. Because it's super important to really visualize. So some of you may have heard me say this, but I always talk about seeing yourself there. Seeing it is already done. It's one of the most powerful things that you can do. And what I mean by that is whatever that might be, if it's losing 20 pounds, if it's just losing like the little muffin top, if it's looking slimmer, if it's having a bigger booty, if it's being healthier and having more energy to play with your kids, whatever it might be, or maybe it's multiple ones. What does it look like when you're there? It's like climbing the mountain. You've gotten there, you're there. Now, what does it look like? Right down to like, who's with you? What are you wearing? How do you feel? Like, that's super important. And really holding that space on a daily basis can help a lot with that shift out of again, that voice that starts to tell you, I have to. Like, you don't ever you want this to feel good and have a lot of good energy around it. So Sean, I'm going to pass it to you and see what you have to add to that.
Well, that really resonates with me, especially as of late, because I've actually read, it's very interesting, divine timing again. There are many studies out there that you can go look up online where athletes, musicians, dancers, I mean, all kinds of people spend a significant amount of time visualizing their craft. And there's studies that show the difference. Like, okay, this group did the visualization, this group did the actual practicing, and this group did like a combination of both. And the people who actually visualize only, they have more growth toward their end goal than the other two groups. And I always thought that was really interesting. But what it really does show is the power of your mind and what you're able to create just with the energy of your thoughts alone. And that just shows how significant it is to, one, like we were talking about, change the narrative that you have, right? Because that has energy, that has momentum, and you're going down a path. But then two, like always revisiting why you're doing this. Like for me, I have a visual, I have a board right here, and I have it's a sentence, or like a paragraph of why I'm doing all of the things that I'm always doing, but especially this, so that I'm constantly like being reminded with that visual of, this is why I'm doing this. For me personally, I'm doing what I'm doing because I'm breaking toxic generational cycles. I'm trying to make a better future, not just for myself, but for my kids. So that has so much weight for me as an individual that by seeing it every single day, like I don't even have to look at it every day, but on the days that I am like, I just need a little extra, or I'm feeling like a little like shitty, all I have to do is look over and I look at that, and it's so meaningful to me. And I can see it in my mind. I can, like Jules is saying, like see it, I can feel it, I can smell it, I can taste it. That in its own like right will help me get through like any little slumps that I have. There's other things that I'll do too, but like that, it's really powerful. It's underestimated for sure.
Yeah, I'd say. So a question, guys, that I want to ask you. So you know what Sean is talking about. How many of you have like a vision board that you created, or maybe it's Post-it notes that you put in strategic places, or like Shauna has like a message board. I do both. But show us, like, let us know in the comments. Do you have, by raise of hands, or just say me if you have a vision board, or you utilize Post-its or things like that to help you visualize and to keep you grounded and centered and feeling all the good stuff. Just say me in the comments, even if you're just starting one. So that leads us into creating positive affirmations. Shauna, like how do you do that?
Well, for me, the affirmations is a tricky one, because I started doing affirmations and it worked, but it didn't really work for me. And the reason is because I had to understand first for myself why I was having all of these negative thoughts, right? So if you think about affirmations, in essence, what you're trying to do is you're trying to reprogram the way that you're thinking by speaking out loud or to yourself again and again and again with like words of, well, affirmation of what it is that you do want to embody and how you do want to show up in the world. So I had friction there. I had conflict because I saw myself and where I wanted to be, but I knew where I was, and it just didn't mesh with me. And it does now, but the difference is I had to understand, one, what were the thoughts that were being conflicted, right? Like, as an example, I'm the kind of person who gets up and does my cardio first thing in the morning. I'm not, unless Jules tells me I have to. But okay, let's just call it that, right? Like, I am a healthy, like, I'm a fit size 5'6" that I've always wanted to be, or like something like that. Well, I'm not there yet, so it gives me this, how do I say it? The contrast is too stark for me. So when I go back and I go, okay, well, why am I having this conflict? It's because, well, I don't see myself that way. So I had to go and change that a little bit. I am working toward becoming the best version of myself. I'm not there yet, but that's okay, because I'm on a path toward, just those little like shifts in the verbiage that kind of trick the brain around to like go, okay, that I can vibe with, that I can agree with, that I can see, so I think they're really, really powerful. You just have to be able to recognize in yourself, and it just takes a real level of self-awareness that we all have, to sit down and go, okay, these are my sabotaging loops. This is what triggers me. This is where my trauma lies. This is what I know I struggle with. And these are the kinds of affirmations that I'm going to use to to reprogram those thoughts. And then it's just be as consistent as you possibly can be. Be as aware as often as you possibly can be. And when the times pass where you actually miss an opportunity to reprogram a thought, don't be hard on yourself. Don't judge yourself. Just allow that moment to pass and pick back up and move back on. So yeah, affirmations like totally do that, but also know where they lie specifically for you, because we're all different. We all have different little quirky things. So sorry about that.
Does that resonate with you guys? If that resonates, give us a hell yes.
Hell yeah.
In the comments. Hell yeah. If that all resonates, we want a hell yeah. So that kind of like, and I love how you reframe that, Channa, because like that can be a friction for me too. And I don't know about you. And I thought maybe we could just talk about this a little bit, because for me, it's a feeling. Like I will almost know when something, I feel stuck. Like I will say and I am, or I'll say it and it doesn't feel like it, just I don't feel it. But when I hit one that I truly feel, like I can almost feel like a warm sensation inside. So for me, like I know when one doesn't hit right, and I have to start to change that language based on how, and this may sound silly and maybe you can rephrase it for the group, but I just don't feel it. Like
I think that's actually a really common thing, honestly. And it shows a level of awareness that you have within your physical, your emotional, and your energetic body, because we're all these layers kind of mixed into one like physical body here. And to me, I mean, I think that shows like an astute level of awareness. So when yeah, totally. If you speak something that you don't actually believe is true on any level of your being, you're going to feel it, and you should feel it. I didn't always. I felt things, but it was almost like my body was numb. So I had to really work on that aspect of being able to recognize within my body. So we can go a little esoteric, right? Like we have chakras, we have energy points within our bodies, and depending upon whatever affirmation you're saying that you don't necessarily agree with, you might feel it, in your root chakra where you're not feeling safe. You might feel it in your solar plexus where like you're worried if that people might believe that of you, maybe not. But when you feel it in your heart, and I mean, when you speak the truth, you're always going to know it in, well, two places, one your heart and one your solar plexus. If you don't feel it, I think it's a very normal thing that people go through, because when we start learning about affirmations, it's kind of like this generic understanding of like, okay, we're just going to start whipping things out, and like, okay, I am love and I am grateful, and and that's great. That's a really great place to start, because we all have to a place to start. But we have to go deeper than that. And we have to really find the things that are specific to what we do. So for me, I had to learn I had to heal a lot of trauma that was stored in my body so that I could actually feel things like physically. So once I was able to do that, then it's very much the same for me. And I imagine, in fact, I know it's got to be the same for almost probably everyone here. You're going to feel it. So when you do feel it and it's not right, go deeper there.
Yeah.
Oh, that doesn't feel right. I'm missing something here. Don't think it, just allow it. Just try to hear it. Don't try to think it. So I think that shows like a level of awareness that we all have to have, really.
Yeah, no, I love it. I love it. Guys, if you like, again, as said, if you guys are like getting some value, let us know. And it is 6:27. We can start to take some questions as well. But before we do that, like what I'll tie a bow around, a lot of this with is then, there's the non-negotiables that you hear me talk about. So now that we've set like a positive frame about it, we know what the why is, we can see it. It's about setting non-negotiables around them as well. Positive non-negotiables. Again, that's why we started with the I get tos and changing that language, because when you set the non-negotiables, you don't want them to feel like a punishment. And to be honest with you, you don't even have to call them non-negotiables. I was actually in a training earlier today, and I really liked the way that they reframed some of this stuff. It was with one of my coaches. I have a whole village that surrounds me, by the way. Character traits. And I kind of like that. And they were going the same direction as non-negotiables. So they were talking about knowing your why, setting your goal, and then what are the character traits that you need to support them. So for example, if my health goal is we were actually talking about that, is to be 120 pounds and shredded, then what do I need to do? That's just me, right? To support that. If my health goal is to be on, to get my IFFB Pro card, what are and that is a health goal, kind of, what are the character traits that I need to support that? So for example, for me, I have written down consistency. I have to be consistent. I have to step up and I have to have discipline when motivation flees. So thinking about it that way, like what are the non-negotiables? Now there's other ways of looking at it. These are my character traits or non-negotiables, because I was on a conversation earlier with one of you guys. We were on a coaching call, and I think I'll take a second, if I have permission from you guys, to just go a little longer. Drop us a heart if I do. But I feel like this could be very good for you, and it's a great example. So when I first started bodybuilding and changing, my fitness regime, the way that I behave now, none of these were character traits, or they had to be non-negotiables to me. So currently, my friends will pick on me. Okay. They will say, you always meal prep. You are always on prep. Like, what do you mean you're off season? I don't ever see you running around without a food container. When do you eat off plan? I do. But this is what I get. Seriously, Julie, are you going to the gym? We're on vacation. I have friends that have made videos of me, posted me on social media behind me, watching me walk into a gym, saying this is what it's like to be on vacation with her. No, they're being funny. But they're like, oh, and by the way, she's got me eating chicken and rice. This is fun, isn't it? Okay. But guys, my point here is it's a character trait that I didn't even know, because I put in place non-negotiables. Now, I wasn't always like that. So now I have these character traits or non-negotiables like brushing my teeth. So another example that you guys could relate to, and I dropped this in my Loom the other day, is hygiene. Like I was like, okay, everybody's got good hygiene. And it's a non-negotiable or a character trait for you to take a shower at least once a day, probably twice. I don't know, to brush your teeth. That's what you want to start to do. So, like me, it becomes a character trait. Now, that doesn't mean your character traits or your non negotiables look like mine. But does that help, guys? Does that make sense? And what you do, you want to take that goal and then support it with character traits. And very much like what Channa is, I would plaster those babies right underneath your why. You're doing it so every day you look at those and you're like, these are my non-negotiables. Like, and then pretty soon you wind up like me, and again, when I say like me, I don't mean like me, but just understanding like where it is a character trait. And so now, like, my traits are like, okay, I gotta be consistent. I gotta think about, like, I have to dig deeper, and that probably wasn't even as deep as I need to go. So if that makes sense, guys, give us some hearts in the comments or say, hell yes, that makes sense.
Hell yes, that makes sense.
Do you have anything to add to that?
Actually, I do. It's funny that you bring that up because I was just thinking about, well, what is it exactly that I pull upon that helps me stay so committed and disciplined when I set a goal? Because I haven't always been that way. And I've been able to achieve some really cool things in my life. And this is the new goal that I have, this fitness goal. And so I'm like, okay, well, what is it? I just made up my mind one day that I'm the kind of person who does what she says she's going to do. And I'm the kind of person who shows up even when it's hard. And I'm the kind of person who follows through all the way to the end, no matter how hard it gets. Because, I mean, just like all of us here, I mean, we've all been through some really tough shit in our lives where we've made it through things that we had no idea how we were going to make it through it. We didn't know what we were doing while we're in it and how it was going to turn out. But you get to the other side and you're just like, oh my God, I did it. And here I am. And here we all are looking at another goal, putting ourselves first here. And it's like, okay, well, that's really what it is. It's a serious non-negotiable for me that when I say I'm going to do something, I do it, period. I always follow through with my commitments and I just show up, and that's just how it is. And I don't ever let that falter. Now, if after my commitment is completed, it's not for me, I'll move on to something else. But, it's true. It is about who are you showing up as every single day. Like when I'm in a workout, I literally will just be like, really, this is when we're giving up? Channa, really, this is when you're giving up? Like you could keep going and you know it. And you know it. Don't be easy on you. Like I'll tell myself, don't be easy on yourself. That's not cool. Like that's not cool because that doesn't give results. So I like that totally, absolutely.
Yeah, no, I love that. Yeah, I do that too. Actually, it's funny. Like I'll have how many of you guys in here have those silly conversations with yourself? And they're not silly. Actually, they work. I do. Like, yes, I will totally call myself out. I know Allison. I see you in here, Amber, Christy. Give us a little affirmation. Say, yes, me. I do it too. Like if you cheer yourself on, sometimes it's just like really, really. Like I'm doing it. I did it already today. Like I was like, oh man, I'm gonna have to go do cardio after this call. And I'm like, really, Julie? Really? It's 45 minutes. Just go. It's not a big deal. So yeah, no, I love that. I love that. It's great that we have these conversations. All right, guys. Channa, do you have anything to add to any of this that you want to?
Oh my gosh, you guys, I could just spend 5 more hours talking to you guys about all this stuff. I'm so passionate about it. I love talking about it. But I think really, Jules, you just got everything perfectly. It is what it is, you guys. You've got the power. You really do. And we tend to be harder on ourselves, like hard on ourselves in a really unproductive way where we need to be hard on ourselves in a whole different way. And it's just a mindset shift. So I think it's all great. It's all good.
I love it. I love it. Should we tell them what we're doing too?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So the first 3 people that showed up in here and said, I am here, they hashtagged I am here with a green heart. Shauna has been so kind that she's going to give away a free tarot reading. What do you guys think? Drop some fire for her if you think that's amazing. Let's hear it.
We're going to have fun. That's for damn sure.
So, Allison, Shauna was one.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Who is the Facebook user? I will actually see this when I get on Facebook. I can't see who it is right now, but there's somebody that came in right after Allison. When I get to the feed in the group, I will be able to see who it is. And I'll let you know, Shauna. And then we have somebody right above Allison as well.
I think it's Marinka. Marinka is the first one above Allison.
Okay. Then we have Allison and then the third person.
Yeah, for some reason I can't see any more than that. So,
all right. Well, guys, you know who you are. We will reach out to you here on the Facebook. Well, actually, I will let Shauna kind of take that and she can like reach out to you and get something set up with you. And guys, just know like she is an energy coach or, a type of a life coach. So this is not me promoting her, but as she said, she could go on for hours on this. So we can do some more. So what I would like from you guys is one, if you want to reach out to her for more work, absolutely. However, if you'd like to see us do more of these kind of things in the tribe calls, let us know what you'd like to hear more on, where your struggles lie, and how we can help you break it down. I'm going to check to see it. There are new comments. Let's move through. Oh, we got a lot of fire going on.
So what I'll probably do, Jules, is I'll find them on Facebook. I'll find you guys on Facebook and send you a message from CHANNA Bender. That's me. It might, because if we're not friends, it might go, to like a different folder. So look for that. But I'll friend you as well. So that.
Oh, and you know what you can do? You could probably tag them in here and tell them to check their messengers as well.
Oh,
like
yeah.
You could drop a comment and say, I just sent you a message to them in the group. Yep. All right. So just in case, guys, you're not friends, that's what Shauna will do. But again, guys, if you don't have any questions, we will let you go. But if you do, we'll hang out here for a little while, answer a couple of questions. But if not, we want you guys to take action on this. So to be honest with you, nothing works unless you can take action. So what we want you to do over the next 48 hours, I think that's fair, is to think about some of the things that we talked about. Make sure that you revisit your why. Think about the visualization piece of it. I can talk, right? And then what are these? We'll keep them as, I like, it's more positive than non-negotiables. What are the character traits that you need to support it? So these are like actual action items that we can have you share with us. Obviously, I think it's beneficial, guys, if you like work on all 5 of them, and you can hit either one of us up if you're stuck, but everything starts up here. So if you're feeling like a little wonky lately, like I just don't know, and this is what I'm hearing a lot, like I was there, now I'm not, like what happened? I don't know. Revisit that why. Think about the things that we talked about, and I will type them in the comments, but number 1 was changing the way that you talk to yourself. Number 2 was establishing or remembering what your why was. Number 3 was visualization. Number 4 was those affirmations. And I loved, think a lot about what Shauna said about like, if you get stuck with affirmations, maybe you need to go a little deeper. Maybe you need to understand, like dig a little bit deeper on that. And then setting those character traits to support that goal. So when you've completed this, just come back here in the comments and say that you've done it, and let us know what your why is, and give us at least 3 character traits that need to support that. What do you think, Channa?
I love that. I'm so down. I can't wait to see what everyone says. And yeah, if you have trouble with the affirmation aspect, I would be super happy to walk you guys through it, because it's just a series of a few questions to just get deeper, and you'll feel it. You'll know when you're there.
I love it. Somebody asked me what my drink was. This is my new pink drink idea, guys. So and it's complete, and it's really completely. I can't watch my camera. You guys, any of you guys can have it. So, it is. This happens to be at Trinta, so it's a Trinta Passion Tea. No lemonade. Lemonade has sugar in it, so it's a Trinta Passion Tea. I put 3 stevias in it, and then just a splash. Make sure it's a splash, guys, of like coconut milk, oat milk. What else do they have there? Almond milk. And it actually tastes like the pink drink. Well, I don't know. I've never had the pink drink, but to me, it's super yummy, guys. Somebody sent me a picture today in the in the PMs, yeah, and they were like, "Oh my God, this is amazing!" So give it a shot, guys. It's kind of good.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you for joining. So remember what your action items are. And Channa will also be reaching out to you. The first 3 that were in here. Have a great night. Peace, love, and protein. Bye.